although we have selected that we are chasing a target, but then we're just trying to collect the batting details first and then the bowling details. Now, this particular step in the populating of scorecard runs a lot of Ajax validations. The first validation is that once you select a batsman on the drop down list, the page reloads and takes off the selected batsman from all the list boxes. It would be more clear once I show you a quick example. If you happen to have any issues, you can go ahead and click on the start all over again. That will allow you to populate the scorecard going through the wizard. So let me first select the batting lineup. I'll show you what I meant when the player will be removed. So let me select the opening batsman as Chris Gayle, and you can see that the page refreshes and Chris Gayle will be taken off from all the list. You can see that there's no Chris Gayle here. So this is just to ensure that we do not have Chris Gayle playing at number 1, 2, 3 and 4 and so on. So select Sourav Ganguly and a quick Ajax happens and Sourav Ganguly is taken off. We cannot see Sourav Ganguly. This is just a small validation to prevent any duplicated entries of a batsman at different playing positions. So an easy way to populate a scorecard is just first select your batting lineup, and I go ahead and select all the players. Say Brendan McCullum, Cheteshwar Pujara, Manoj Tiwari. Let's say Angelo Matthews. Say Ajit Agarkar. This is just a small refresh, and if you're running on a decent internet connection, this won't take a long time. You may have some problems on a dial-up connections, but if you're browsing it from an office or a home DSL, this refresh is very fast. Now, once that we have the batting order set, our next step is to set the status of the batsman. Notice that we're not collecting any opponent details because our playing mode is just our play details. So on the status against the batsman, you have the various types of dismissals a batsman can have. Once you select the status, it goes through again a quick validation. This validation will ensure that if I select a DNB, it means did not bat, then the text boxes on the runs, balls, fours and sixes is just disabled, disallowing you to have any entries. You don't have to wait for the Ajax refresh. You can go ahead and set the status without waiting for the Ajax refresh. It will refresh in the background, and once you're done with finalizing the statuses of all the players, the text boxes against the players are set in right mode. So just go ahead and quickly set the status of these batsmen, and you can see that once all the status are set and the final Ajax happens, you have the text boxes active against all the batsmen who did not bat status against them. So I go ahead and start providing entries against the runs, balls, fours and sixes. You can just use the tab key of your keyboard to quickly switch across the runs, balls, fours and sixes and to the next row and so on. So I say that Chris Gayle has scored 53 runs of 10 balls, and when I hit the tab, a small refresh happens just to make sure that can 53 runs be scored of 10 balls. Now if I change the value of 5 to 10 and then hit the tab button, a quick refresh happens to validate that if 53 runs can be scored on 5 balls. And you see that once the page refresh, it says that it deletes the value of 5 against the balls and says that 53 runs cannot be scored in 5 balls. So if you want to have the inline validation of the runs and balls and fours and sixes that you are providing against the batsman, you can go ahead and just enter the values and wait for the Ajax refresh to validate the score. Now if you feel that this is a little slow on the dial-up connection or on the connection speed, then you have an option to turn off the auto validation in the bottom of the scorecard. So this will not refresh the page no matter what values you provide here. We'll do a final validation before we save and update. So for ease of use or for slow internet connections, just select this checkbox to turn off the auto validation. That will disable the auto validation for just the runs, balls, and fours and sixes entries. So I do a turn off for auto validations, and I go ahead and populate the scorecard. So I say Chris Gale made 53 in 5 balls and hit 5 fours and 5 sixes. Saurav Ganguly, this is a random population of a scorecard. I say Ganguly scored 52 of 29 balls with 5 fours and 2 sixes. Pranam McCullum made 13 of 4 deliveries. Let's say with 1 4 and a 6. Chitashwar Pujara made 38 in, let's say, 30 balls with 4 fours and no sixes. Manash Tiwari made 12 on 9 balls with 1 4 and no sixes. Angela Matthews 21 of 10 with 2 fours and 1 6. Ajit Agarkar made 5 of 2 balls with the help of a boundary and a 6. I'm here saying that Ajit Agarkar scored a boundary and a 6 and he made just 5 runs. So let me see how the validation of this page happens. Give some wrong entries, and Achanta Mendes, Murli Karthik, Nishant Sharma. And one final validation here is that the status of the players, no 3 players can have the status as not out. And if you can see the scorecard, I have 3 players in the not out state. That's Angelo Matthews is not out, Murli Karthik, and Ishant Sharma. So let me see how it validates. I select the overs. And these are the overs that Kolkata Knight Riders have faced in scoring these runs. Let me say that we have played 10 overs, and the balls that the batsmen have faced seems to be more than 10 overs, but let's see how it validates. The extras field is disabled, and we can say it calculates based on the entries for wides, leg byes, and no balls. We say 2 4 2 2, and we have pretty much populated the scorecard. The save and continue button is disabled because we need to ensure that we validate the scorecard before we save this. So let me hit the validate and update. It does a quick round of all validations for this score sheet entry, and it would pop up the list of issues. You can see that please check the overs bowled against the balls faced by the batsman. So it's more than 10 overs the batsmen have played. So I say, as Kolkata Knight Riders have lost the match, I change the overs to 20 and hit the validate date. And the next error is that you have more than 2 batsmen in the status not out. So let me say Murli Karthik is out, and you have a quick red box against the entry for Chris Gale. So I changed the number of balls from 5. Another round of validation is that please ensure that the entry for runs, balls, fours, and sixes are validated. That's against the Chris Gale. So we go ahead and select that Chris Gale made 4 runs of 2 balls with no fours and no sixes. And if you see the entry for Ajit Agarkar, I said that the Ajit Agarkar scored 5 runs with a boundary and a 6. So it takes off the 6 and ensures that Ajit Agarkar has not scored less runs than the number of hits to the fence.